1987 wasn't just a great year for rock, it was a turning point. These songs didn't just top charts, they captured a generation, changed the culture, and rewrote what rock could be. Whether you lived it or you're just discovering it, get ready to feel the energy, hear the stories, and relive the sound that defined an era. This isn't just a throwback, this is rock history in full volume. Let's dive into 10 songs that defined 1987. Number 10, With or Without You by U2. This wasn't just a song. This was the moment U2 stopped being a rising rock band and became global icons. By 1987, the Irish quartet had already earned critical praise, but the Joshua Tree changed everything. At the heart of it was With or Without You, a haunting, slow burn anthem that hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and never really left the airwaves. The band was wrestling with fame, faith, and identity. And this song captures all of it in 4 perfect minutes. Bono's voice aches with longing, torn between love and personal freedom, while The Edge builds that iconic, echoing guitar line that feels like it could go on forever. And here's the wild part, the song almost didn't make the cut. U2 fought over it in the studio. It was too simple, too unlike anything they'd done before, but The Edge used the infinite guitar to create that haunting, sustained sound, and suddenly it clicked. The result? A track that's been played at weddings and funerals, on radio stations and world tours for almost 4 decades. It's not just a hit, it's a spiritual crisis set to music. With or Without You didn't just top the charts, it defined the year and redefined what rock could sound like. Number 9, Here I Go Again by Whitesnake. When Whitesnake first released Here I Go Again, back in 1982, it was a bluesy, mid-tempo track, emotional, but not a chart killer. Fast forward 5 years, new band, new label, new look. David Coverdale knew this was his shot to break America. So they cranked up the guitars, tightened the groove, and re-recorded the song with a slicker, glossier edge. It worked. The 1987 version hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, turning a British cult band into glam rock royalty. Suddenly, Whitesnake was everywhere. On MTV, on radio, and definitely on the hood of a Jaguar, thanks to Tawny Kitaen's unforgettable moves in the video. But don't let the hairspray and flash fool you. There's grit underneath. Here I Go Again is about starting over, pushing through, and carrying the weight of every wrong turn. It hit home with fans because it felt real, even wrapped in power chords. While Still of the Night showed off Whitesnake's muscle, this song showed their heart and gave Coverdale the victory lap he'd earned after years in the shadows. Sometimes the second chance is the real one. What was another defining year in rock music history? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want to be the first to see more videos like this. Number 8, Alone by Heart. You hear that first piano note, and it stops you. By 1987, Heart had already lived 2 rock careers. The 70s version, raw, mystical, Zeppelin-esque, but the 80s version, bombastic, cinematic, and bold. And Alone was their crown jewel, a power ballad so massive it shot straight to number 1 and refused to leave the airwaves. But here's what makes it hit so hard: vulnerability. When producer Ron Nevison first played the demo for the band, Ann Wilson hated it. She thought it was too cheesy. But once she stepped up to the mic, everything changed, and Alone became the biggest hit of Heart's entire career. Ann Wilson doesn't just sing Alone, she pleads it. Her voice starts soft, almost guarded, then rises into a full-force hurricane. It's heartbreak wrapped in thunder, and with Nancy Wilson's quiet strength behind her, the song becomes something bigger than just another power ballad. It becomes personal. This wasn't a song written by the band. It was a cover, originally recorded by obscure duo I-10 in 1983. But Heart made it theirs, turning an overlooked track into one of the most iconic slow burn anthems of the decade. Number 7, Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard. By 1987, Def Leppard had been through a lot. Their drummer, Rick Allen, had lost his arm in a car crash. Recording Hysteria had dragged on for years, and the pressure to follow up Pyromania was huge. They'd already finished most of the album when Joe Elliott started casually playing a riff in the studio. Nothing planned, just fooling around. Producer Mutt Lange immediately stopped him and said, "That's a hit!" So they dropped everything and built a new song around it. What came out was rougher, sexier, and way more fun than anything else on the album. Pour Some Sugar on Me wasn't released as the first single, but once it hit MTV, it blew up. It was the kind of track you couldn't escape. It was on the radio, in clubs, at parties, everywhere. And you know what? Joe Elliott once joked that the song should have come with strip club royalties because it was played so often in places like that across the US. In the end, it became their most iconic song and helped Hysteria sell over 20 million copies worldwide. Number 6, Need You Tonight by INXS. This song just grabbed your attention in 1987. INXS had already built a solid reputation with Listen Like Thieves, but their next album, Kick, took things to another level. It was sleek, confident, and dripping with attitude, and Need You Tonight was the song that kicked the door down. That stuttering guitar riff, instantly recognizable. Michael Hutchence' vocals, smooth, seductive, completely in control. The whole track felt fresh. Part rock, part funk, part something entirely new. It didn't sound like the other big rock hits of '87, and that's exactly why it stood out. The video didn't hurt either. It was stylish, edgy, and all over MTV. Hutchence practically oozed charisma, and overnight he went from frontman to full-on sex symbol. Need You Tonight was the only INXS song to hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it did that by going against the grain, short, stripped down, and danceable in a year full of big glam and heavy guitar solos. It was cool without trying, and that's why it still sounds good today. Number 5, Sweet Child O' Mine by Guns N' Roses. Not every Guns N' Roses song came out snarling. Some of them, like this one, caught you off guard. Sweet Child O' Mine started out as a joke. Slash was fooling around with a warm-up riff, something he thought sounded like circus music. But Axl heard it, and they immediately started writing lyrics. Within a few hours, they had a full song. What began as a throwaway turned into a masterpiece. It's raw, emotional, and weirdly beautiful. A love letter wrapped in power chords. Axl's lyrics were inspired by his then-girlfriend Erin Everly, and his vocals go from soft to explosive without missing a beat. Slash's solo? Instantly iconic. That riff has been played in more bedrooms, garages, and arenas than anyone can count. Funny thing is that Sweet Child O' Mine was never meant to be a single. The label pushed for it at the last minute, and it became the band's first and only #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. For a band known for their wild edge, this song showed their heart and proved they could write something massive without losing their grit. Number 4, Big Love by Fleetwood Mac. In 1987, Big Love kicked off Fleetwood Mac's Tango in the Night era with a sharp left turn. It was sleek, modern, and way more rhythmic than anything fans expected. By the time the album Tango in the Night was finished, Fleetwood Mac was hanging by a thread. The band was fractured. Stevie Nicks was mostly absent, Christine McVie kept her distance, and Lindsey Buckingham was left to hold everything together. Frustrated and creatively isolated, he took control of the album's production and poured his energy into what would become its lead single, Big Love. This wasn't a group effort. Buckingham played nearly all the instruments himself, produced the track, and, most surprisingly, recorded both the male and female vocal parts using layered takes and a bit of studio trickery. A full duet sung entirely solo. The song feels tight and tense, with pulsing loops and those breathy gasps repeating like someone trying to keep it together. Underneath the gloss, there's pressure. Controlled, barely. Knowing that, the song was the perfect opening statement for an album born from a band on the edge. 1987, no one was really expecting a George Harrison comeback. He'd been quiet for years. off making films, living life, being, well, the quiet one. But then came Cloud 9, and suddenly George was back on the charts and on the radio with a song that no one saw coming. Got My Mindset on You wasn't deep or philosophical. It wasn't spiritual or political. It was just fun, catchy, bright, and full of charm. And here's the twist. It wasn't even new. The song was originally recorded in 1962 by James Ray, but in George's hands, it became something else entirely. A toe-tapping, radio-ready slice of late 80s pop rock that reached #1 on the US charts and #2 in the UK. It's got Jeff Lynne's glossy production all over it, but it's still pure George. Laid back, melodic, and a little cheeky. This wasn't just a hit. It was a reminder. Harrison, even years after the Beatles, could still outshine younger acts with a great hook and a sly smile. Got My Mindset on You. Didn't try to change the world. It just made people sing along, and that was more than enough. Number 2, Brilliant Disguise by Bruce Springsteen. This wasn't the sound of the boss in a stadium shouting anthems to a sea of raised fists. This was something quieter, sharper, more personal. Released in 1987, Brilliant Disguise was the lead single from Tunnel of Love, an album born in the shadow of Bruce Springsteen's crumbling marriage to actress Julianne Phillips. Just a couple years after the triumph of Born in the USA, Bruce was suddenly writing about confusion, doubt, and the distance that creeps into even the most intimate relationships. Brilliant Disguise stripped everything down. The lyrics cut deep. I want to know if it's you I don't trust, because I damn sure don't trust myself. No character, no mask, just Bruce, face to face with his own insecurities. The production is clean but restrained, like it's trying not to say too much. Even the video is stark, one take, Bruce in a kitchen. No tricks, no flash. It wasn't his biggest chart hit, but it hit hard. And for fans used to larger-than-life stories, this song was a reminder that sometimes the hardest battles are the ones behind closed doors. It was The Boss, unfiltered, and maybe for the first time, a little unsure. Number 1, It's the End of the World as We Know It by R.E.M. You couldn't sing along to it, at least not on the first try, but that didn't matter. It was weird, wordy, and completely unforgettable. By 1987, R.E.M. had built a loyal following with their jangly underground college rock sound. But with Document, things started to shift. It's the End of the World as We Know It and I Feel Fine wasn't written for radio, but it became one of their most iconic tracks anyway. It's a frantic stream of consciousness powered by jangling guitars, relentless drums, and Michael Stipe rapid-firing references like a doomsday auctioneer. Lyndon Johnson, Leonard Bernstein, birthday parties, cheesecake. It's all in there. And somehow it works. The song became a cult classic. Not a chart topper, but a track every alt-rock fan could recognize by the first 2 seconds. It was fast, funny, and oddly comforting in its chaos. R.E.M. would soon leave their indie roots behind and sign with a major label. But this song captured them right on the edge. Still strange, still subversive, and not trying to make sense of the world, just running straight through it. And somehow, yes, they felt fine. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed the trip down memory lane, hit like, subscribe, and tell us which song still hits hardest for you.